thank you each and every one of you for being here. You've, entrusted me with these next half an hour or so, and I hope that whatever I communicate today will indeed be life changing. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing a PPT. I tend to use PPTs because I think there's so much information coming, and it might help you. It might even help you if you have a pen and paper. So go ahead. Well done, Ellie. I'll just give me a second. Okay, so here we go. This is our topic for today, relational dynamics. And as Lasya rightly pointed out, life is all about relational dynamics. What does it mean? It means different ways in which we relate with people, depending on who they are, what our equation is with them, and also on whether I am responding or reacting to what is going on in my life. Relational dynamics, as the title suggests, that it is dynamic, which means it is constantly changing. But why is it changing? How is it changing? We will look at that a little more. Now, in every relationship, our goal is connection. I'm just been told I need to speak louder. Okay. Our goal is connection. Why? Because relationships is about talking to people. You don't have a relationship unless you are engaging with someone verbally. Okay, that's a core part of relationships. And to understand circles of relationships or networks or different clusters of relationships that we have, we need to recognize how we respond to situations and people around us. And another way of putting it is, do we live from the outside in, or do I live from the inside out? Okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? Okay, let's look at that. Now, when I live from the outside in, it means that I am triggered by outside events. They affect how I think, and that affects my perspective. My perspective affects, therefore, how I feel, and then, based on how we feel, we react. That is an outside in perspective, where there's a trigger and I am reacting. Whereas an inside out perspective, a way of living, is things happen around me, but I am guided by core thoughts, core beliefs. Those things change the way I look at the circumstance around me, my perspective, and so I am in control of how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and therefore how I respond. I'm sure by now you've noticed there are two words I'm using. There's react and there's respond. Okay, and we want to aim to learn to respond rather than react. So we can live from outside in or inside out. In any relationship, we can show up as powerful or powerless. Okay, as powerful or powerless. What do I mean by this? Do I mean that you are a dominating person, a person who wants to be overbearing? No, it simply means that a powerful person is somebody who makes choices based on an inner compass, inner set of core beliefs or values, rather than reacting to or being controlled by others or external circumstances. This person is a person who is in charge of their emotions, in charge of how they react. A powerful person or a powerful person or an inside out person can make right decisions no matter what the circumstances are around them. They are not controlled by things going on or by what people say or what by people do or don't do. So our goal in all our relationships is to make choices based on an inner compass rather than reacting. Now, there are two types of people, okay? Two types of people. The powerless person, like I said, who works from the outside in paradigm, or the powerful person that works from the inside out paradigm. And we're going to look at what do these two people, kinds of people look like. And when we're looking at this, I'd like you to think about yourself. Now, let me say this. None of us are totally powerful and none of us are totally powerless, but there are different times and different percentages, you can say, in which we interact and engage with people. In some situations we become very powerless, in some situations we are more powerful than in others. Let's look at some characteristics so that we can recognize our own behavior patterns, okay? So let's look at the powerless person who lives from the outside in paradigm. Often these people are very afraid of conflict, and so there is a lot of anxiety inside of them. They are scared, you know, and because they are scared, they need to control what is happening around them. They will often get angry when they don't get their way. And let me tell you, anger is fake power. Often when people are angry, actually they're very scared and they're very insecure, and then they put up this thing of anger in order to get people to do what they want them to do. Because people feel powerless, they feel the need to manipulate. So they manipulate people, they manipulate conversations, they try and manipulate circumstances, and the reason being because they want to stay in control. They feel if they don't manipulate, they're going to lose control over everything around them. They don't have confidence in the relationship currency that they have, or the equation that they have with people. And it's not so obvious what powerless people look like. Powerless people can also, you know, when they're upset, can give you the silent treatment, and control cloaks itself in many ways. Powerless people often don't tell you the truth very well. Why? Because they're people pleasers. They don't want to upset you. Remember, I said they're afraid of conflict. So they're not going to tell you if they are upset or there's something they don't like about what you did or what you said. They can, like I said, they get angry and then they blame, and they will often use this language. You do this, you do that, you did this, you did that, you make me do this, you make me happy, you make me glad, you make me mad, you made me sad. And so they're constantly blaming someone else for their reactions. They will often make passive statements or irresponsible statements like, I'll try. Have you heard of people who have said, hey, will you come to my house for tea? I'll try. Actually, they mean I won't, but they're too afraid of speaking the truth, so they use words like I'll try. There's no I'll try. Either I will or I won't. You know, what happens is, like, they will also make passive statements apart from I'll try. Like they will say, oh, I can't do it, or I should, or I won't, or I'm unable to. It's almost like I suppose there is something else controlling this person, and they need someone to manage their emotions. So they'll always say, hey, you know, what you did really made me upset. Wow, is that person that powerful? You know, you allowed yourself to get upset. Now this is a major paradigm shift, because we say, but they said something rude and so I got angry. And we're going to look at a little more at where do our emotions flow from. You know, they live by, I use this phrase, you know, greater is the person outside there than what is going on inside me and the charge that I have over my own emotions. So powerless people expect others to manage their happiness, and they have a victim mindset. So they feel whenever there is a problem, they feel, oh, they're doing this to me. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I always in problems? Why are they always treating me like this? And they tend to have a victim mindset, and therefore tend to blame others for all their problems. Powerless people give in for the sake of peace. And sometimes they can give in for the sake of peace for a long time, even years. Even years. Powerless people even expect people to read their minds because they won't be open. And they feel, don't you know what I'm thinking? No, I don't. You need to tell me. You need to use words. But they expect people to be mind readers, and their entire life is a reaction. Powerless people, so these are some characteristics of a powerless person. Now let's look at what does a powerful person look like. A person who lives from an inside out paradigm. Okay, a powerful person, like I said, lives life in response rather than react. They respond rather than react. They set limits with disrespectful people. So they don't tolerate nonsense. They are not doormats. So if someone is shouting at them all the time, they'll say, hey, hold it. Can we talk respectfully? Or till you calm down, or till you get control over your emotions, let's take a time out. Let's talk in an hour's time or 2 hours time, or let's talk when you calm down. So they don't allow people to be abusive toward them, verbally and certainly not physically. Okay, they manage themselves regardless of what other people do. They take responsibility for their own thoughts, feelings and actions. They don't say he made me sad, he made me glad, he made me mad. They take responsibility for the way they feel. So they will communicate not with you statements, they communicate with I statements. They'll say, I was upset when you did not come on time. They don't say, you made me upset because you didn't come on time. I got upset and I am disappointed, or I am angry, or I am not happy about your late coming, just to give you an example. So they live from inside out, and therefore they are not victims of their circumstances. They take charge, they know how to respond, and they respond appropriately to the situation or to the person in front of them. They have healthy boundaries and they manage their choices. Okay, they can direct their own life and vision because they have a mindset that gives them the ability to manage themselves. So, you know, because victims, what happens is their mind shuts down, and their mind shuts down to what would you say, solutions. They just can't think solutions because they are in this victim mode where they say, help, 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 I need somebody to rescue me. Whereas the powerful person says, okay, so this is not working. What choices do I have before me? What can I do? What are the options before me? What are the alternatives? And that opens up your mind to thinking solutions. Okay? So we've looked at what powerful and powerless people look like. Now, what happens when these two people start engaging with each other? Okay? And I'm going to show you 3 kinds of engagement when powerful and powerless people start interacting with each other. And we've got powerful and powerless people in our lives, right? All the time. Maybe they're in family, maybe they're neighbors, maybe it's at work, school, colleagues, wherever. Let's look at what these 3 kinds of engagement look like. So we have the first one where you have a powerless and a powerless person engaging each other. Then you have the powerful and a powerless person engaging each other, and then you have a powerful and a powerful person engaging each other. Let's look at each one. Okay, the powerless dynamic. What does this look like? Here, when 2 powerless people engage each other, they both try to control each other, and so both are manipulating each other. And there's a lot of anxiety in this relationship because nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, and each one is trying to mind read and outwit the other. And their whole life is based on a reaction. So their responses are dependent on how you behave with them. So if you're nice, I'll be nice. If you're angry with me, I'll be angry with you. And one person can become very servile in this relationship because they're afraid of conflict. And they may appear like they're keeping the peace, but actually they're not. They're not. It appears noble, but what is happening is really they are tolerating a whole lot of things that they should never have tolerated. They get angry and they want to control people. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of anxiety and they're dependent on others for happiness, and both avoid conflict, and the issues unfortunately stay unresolved for a long time. And sometimes when they stay unresolved for such a long time, then it's like a volcano. It just blows up, and it can blow up over a very small issue, and you say, my goodness, why did she get so upset? But actually she's not just upset because of today's things, it's because of a whole lot of pent up issues. Okay, and so they can also use passive aggressive behavior. What do I mean by this? They don't directly tell you they're upset with you, they just block you, they don't talk to you, or they just ignore things that you say to them. And that is called, there's a lot about passive aggressive behavior, but we don't have the time to get into this. Then we have the powerful and the powerless dynamic. And here, this creates a lot of dependency, because what happens is the powerful person is always in rescue mode, rescuing the powerless person who feels like a victim. And the powerful person feels they are being helpful by rescuing this person. Okay? The powerful person will pick up the ball of all the irresponsible behavior of the powerless person. So when the powerless person doesn't finish their job, doesn't finish it well, or leaves it incomplete, the powerful person steps in and completes it. Now, small tip to parents. When we give instructions to children, we say, hey, when you finish studying, clear the table, take your books, put them away, put it in your bag so that we can get ready for dinner, for example. And the child doesn't do it, la 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 la, and they go playing, they're playing on their phone, they're playing and they're doing this. Ajit, come on, put away your books, put away, yeah, da la 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 la, da da la la. Ajit, put away your books, and Ajit doesn't put away his books, and then it's time up, or he hasn't put away his books, he hasn't put his books in his bag according to timetable. This was in pre-lockdown days, and he goes to, there's a danger of him going to school without the right books, and what does mama do? Powerful mama comes to the rescue, looks at the timetable and puts the right books in the bag. What have you just done? You have taught this child that I don't need to be responsible. Someone else is going to pick up the ball that I drop. And they grow up as adults expecting others to pick up after them. So has mama really been helpful? Think about that. Okay? Has mama been helpful? Or a colleague doesn't finish the project, doesn't finish their part of the project in time, and the team lead is feeling under pressure to step in and do the job. What have you taught? What have you just educated this person in? You've just educated this person in being irresponsible, and this person will continue to be irresponsible because you just rewarded irresponsible behavior by picking up the ball. But when you let the ball drop and you let the person who is irresponsible feel the consequences of their choices, then hopefully the next time they won't do it. Possibly that adult who is being irresponsible had a mama who packed his bag every day when he or she went to school. And so they never learned the consequences of their irresponsibility. So what if they don't take the book? I have done it. So what? They'll get a remark in their calendar. Let them face the consequences. Much better a remark in the calendar when they're 10 years old than when they're at a job and then they get a memo or a warning letter saying you are underperforming. Which one would you prefer for your child? I will go with the remark in the calendar. Teach them to be responsible at 10, and then they will be responsible at 30. Teach them to be irresponsible at 10, and you have just rewarded him with irresponsible behavior, and they will continue to do it when they are 30. I've labored this point because I think many people face this, especially at work. The powerless person, like I said, behaves like the victim, and the powerful plays the valiant rescuer. The powerful person works harder on the relationship than the powerful person, and this can be in relationships where the powerful person is constantly reminding the other person, hey, you're supposed to pay the electricity bill today, hey, you're supposed to pick up the vegetables today, hey, routine work, routine things that the other person is responsible. And all the time the powerful person is being like your diary and your manager. And what happens, and you're not going to like this, especially when it comes to adults, or it can be in a marriage, there is only one adult in the relationship. The other person behaves like a child. So it becomes like a parent-child relationship where one is constantly being the mama coming to the rescue. And we don't want to be in this dynamic. Then we have the powerful dynamic, and this is where we all want to be, where both are adults and both are behaving responsibly. They respect the other person, they respect themselves, and they respect the responsibilities that they carry. They both carry their responsibilities and therefore create a free space for everyone. They manage their emotions, and therefore they can be themselves around people. Powerful people can disclose how they're feeling. Both are in yeah, I've already said that, sorry. They can disclose how they're feeling. They're not afraid of speaking the truth. They're not controlled by someone else's character flaws or defects. They take responsibility for their decisions. Being powerful means you can be honest and you can be vulnerable. Don't use powerless statements or weak or passive statements. They will either say I can do it or I can't do it, I'll do it, or I'm so sorry I won't be able to do it. But they will not say I'll try, I'll think about it. Their yes is a yes and their no is a no. Okay. Also, they live with integrity. Okay, they are respectful and responsible for all their relationships. Okay, so I think let's take a break here, and we are going to have a few questions to recap, okay, to see how much do we remember. And I'm just going to stop sharing the screen, and Lasya is going to just lead us with some questions.
All right, wasn't that good? Yeah, I'm sure all of us could identify some of those characteristics in ourselves, whether it's powerful or powerless, and it's helpful for us to know also those different dynamics. So let's just review this first half with some quiz questions. Now, just like the first questions quiz that we did, only put in the chat the options 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so can we see the first question, please? Let's see. Okay. The first question is, we can live from, and the options are, okay, first is upside down, 2, inside out, 3, this side, that side, or 4, your side, my side. Okay, put in your, yeah, I see a lot of people saying 2, Sumita says 4, Chayan says 2, Joshua, Shauna, Adya, 2. Okay, let's see what's the answer. It's 2. Congratulations, guys. Yeah, that's absolutely right. We can live from inside out. Yeah, that is the powerful response. Okay, let's see another question. Okay, second question is, our goal is to, and the options are, What is our goal? Our goal is to allow others to dictate our lives, or two, to control the outcome, three, to live from an inner compass, or four, let life just happen. Okay, what do you think? Dhruti, Tanishka, Gargi, oh my gosh, yes. I think most of them have said three, couple of said two, control the outcome. Okay, and the answer is three. That's right. Absolutely correct. Okay, three. Our goal is that we are able to live from an inner compass, not controlled by our situations, or not wanting to or having to control the outcome of everything. Yeah. Let's go on to question number three. Next question. Okay. The powerless person lives from a, and what are the options? Okay, here we have two options. First is an inside out paradigm or an outside in paradigm. Answer with options 1 or 2 in the chat. Okay, we see a lot of twos. So he's saying that powerless person lives from an outside in paradigm. And the answer is the powerless person lives from a,
Okay.
I think that's a mistake, but you guys got it. Yeah, it's an outside in paradigm. That's absolutely right. Your eye is on the ball. Okay, so you guys got it. That's right. Okay, let's do one more question. Okay, before we go back, which is a healthy dynamic? Let's see. What are the options? The first option is powerful, powerless dynamic, or a powerless, powerless dynamic, or a powerful, powerful dynamic. Okay, and I see all of them responding three. Yeah, Joshua, Fanny, Galaxy A20, Weeksy, all right. Okay, everyone's saying three, so we're pretty unanimous in that. And let's see the answer. All right, that's absolutely right. Okay, the healthy dynamic, what we are aiming towards is a powerful dynamic. Wonderful. That's excellent, guys. I think you guys have got it now. Get ready for part 2, and let's welcome Navaz back in. And while she is going through the part 2, I will encourage you guys, if you have any questions, and I know there's a lot of stuff in here. If you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat, and we'll take up one or two questions towards the end and answer it. Okay? All right, over to you, Nawaz.
Great. Sorry for that mess up there. Okay. So, we've looked at powerful, powerless, all the dynamics. So, the question we ask is, how do we become powerful? How do we become powerful? Okay, we need to know what is in our circle of control. Like I said, our emotions come from within us. We'll look at that. What am I? So, I'd like to suggest, imagine you've got 3 circles around you, okay, concentric circles. You need to know what are you responsible for, and you are responsible for your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. That's in your inner circle. That's inside. That's where your compass is, okay? You need to know what you have partial control over, and then most importantly, you need to know what you have absolutely no control over. Okay, we're going to look at these circles. That's you in the middle, and like I said, all your emotions are inside of you. Angry, sad, happy, frustrated, impatient, when you're rude, you're disappointed. Ooh, I've put God in there. Okay, and let's look at this. Partial control is our health, our job, our finance, our education, and I've put health and job little bit in, little bit out, like take COVID. How many of us have had control over it? Yes, I can take my jabs, I can wear my mask, I can do all of that, which I did, and I got COVID, So some things were in my control and some things were just not in my control. But look at the outer circle, okay? Can you see? It's mostly got to do with people and relationships, okay? My friends are not in my control, my boss is not in my control, the prime minister is not in my control, neither are my wife, my kids, and I've put some other things there that may not be relevant for today, And then there's your friend there with all their emotions in their circle. And sometimes what happens is when we have a powerless dynamic, or we have a powerful and a powerless dynamic, we get this, which is out of control. Because now I'm into your emotions and you are into my emotions, and I feel responsible for your happiness. I feel you've made me frustrated. I feel, oh my God, I better be careful or he will get angry. And can you see the mashup that happens? And this, my friends, is not where we want to be. Let's look at how do powerless people, some of the ways in which powerless people deal with problems. We looked at some things, but I'm going to show you it, like say if there is an actual situation, you may come across one of these 7 responses, okay, based on whether they whether they act out in anger, or they're being defensive, or they are blaming, or whatever. Let's look at it. Okay, one of the things they can say is, when there is a problem, they'll say, what's your problem? What's it got to do with you? And they kind of shoot the, what we call shoot the messenger. The trigger is not so much that they don't like the problem, but that you are bringing up the problem. The fact that you bring up the problem, they will respond with, what's your problem? Another way they may respond is, the problem actually is, and they will try and rationalize it. People may create reasons for their behavior that satisfy themselves but are inaccurate, and the whole aim is to reduce their responsibility for the problem. They sometimes may even deny that the problem exists, and so they will say, oh, come on, yeah, don't make such a big deal about it, it's not such a big problem. And so they will try and minimize the actual issue. They will they'll say, come on, it wasn't so bad, come on, it wasn't so bad, don't make such a big deal. Then they'll say, another way they'll respond is, they are the problem, and that is the blame game. It wasn't me. If they had just been kind, I would not have behaved in this manner. If she had just been respectful, towards me, I would not have been rude to her. She is the problem. And so they play the blame game. The other one, they'll say, what problem? There's no problem. Kahan problem kidhar hai yaar? There's no problem. And so they are in denial. Okay, some people just deny that the problem exists because they don't want to face up to their responsibility. The other thing they will do is, you're always causing a problem, you always cause a problem. And really what they're doing is, they don't allow themselves, they disallow their own, they don't want to take responsibility for their behavior, and so they project it onto other people. Okay, they're unable to tolerate the bad thing within them. Actually, they know they've done it, but they will put it on someone else. Okay, the other way a person will respond is using all of the above, where they say, the whole world is against me, all you guys here, all the time y'all are picking on me, there's no problem, y'all are saying there's a problem, then you're saying I am the problem, and I'm telling you there's no problem. What's your problem? Actually the problem is that they are the problem. Do you see what they've done? And so they sidestep, and you can never come to a resolution to a conflict with this person. So what do you do? What do you do? What can you do to stay in your circle, to stay in control of your emotions and your responses? If the powerless person does not take responsibility for the way that they are behaving or thinking or speaking, here are some things that you can do. Communicate clearly what is it you don't like about what they've said or their behavior. Set boundaries. Ask questions rather than accuse them. If you come at them in an accusing tone, 100% they are going to get defensive, they're going to deny, they're going to blame, they're going to deflect. they're going to do all these things. So just ask a question. So supposing they are, persistently late, say, hey, help me understand, but why is it that you are unable to come on time? Rather than saying, why are you always late? You're always keeping me waiting. You're not going to get a good response to that. You say, but you ask, so was there a problem? What time did you get the bus? And you will be able to probably come to a solution easier. Make your expectations clear. Listen, I'd like you to give me this report by tomorrow evening at 4 o'clock. Clear expectation. No, give it to me when you finish. Oh, the guy will take 10 days to finish the job. Okay? Make your expectations clear. Collaborate, don't take over. Because if you take over, if you rescue him once, you'll have to rescue him again. Maybe you can help a little bit, but don't take over the job. Don't do for others what they can do for themselves. Okay? And here the question you could ask in the situation is, are they unable to do it? Do they lack the skills? Or are they unwilling? Do you see the difference? Are they unable or are they unwilling? Don't do for others what they can do for themselves. Listen without taking the load. Okay, we do a whole thing on listening. We do a whole teaching on listening, a seminar on listening, on empathy, but without taking on the responsibility. So you listen, you empathize, you probably ask some helpful questions, and you give them the support they need rather than rescue. Okay, allow them to think for themselves, because when people, I've noticed, when you allow people to think for themselves, they come up with solutions that they then own rather than feeling like you've imposed something on them. So you ask them questions. So what do you think you can do about it? Because people sometimes are lazy, they don't want to think. So ask them, what do you think you can do about this? And they say, okay, yeah, I think I need to get up an hour earlier. I need to take the earlier bus. So now what has happened? They've owned, or they've taken responsibility for their lack of punctuality. How can you change powerless behavior? Okay. If you are the person who's constantly dropping the ball and you say, yeah, I've always wanted a mama to rescue me all the time, here are some of the things you can do. Learn to keep your commitments and follow through. Okay. Look for healthy ways to express your need rather than manipulate people or use anger. I'm so tired, you don't know what I'm feeling, No. Or saying, Arey, nobody helps me, nobody is bothered about what I'm feeling. These are all manipulative statements. Just say, hey guys, I need some help. Do you think you can help me with this? Yeah. Acknowledge your own strengths and limitations. Know what you are capable of and what you are not capable of, and communicate that to especially when you've been given a responsibility. Say, hey, actually I don't know how to do this. Rather than keep the whole team waiting right to the end, you drop the ball, you keep quiet about the fact you don't know how to do it, others are picking it up, and this cycle, drama cycle, continues to go on and on. Find ways of addressing conflict in a healthy way rather than sweeping it under the carpet. Okay, because it does not buy peace. You just build a volcano that one day will erupt. Stop blaming others and take responsibility for how you think, feel, and act. Okay, I am upset because of this, and this. You're taking responsibility, and that is why I behaved the way I did. I shouldn't have, but I'm sorry. So you take responsibility for your feelings, you take responsibility for the way you behaved. And when we do this, we will change our powerless behaviors, and we will learn to become more healthier in our interactions and learn to become more powerful. Okay. Thank you, and we're done. Just to let you know, if some of you are interested in more on this topic, here are some of the resources I've used. I've used a lot of resources, but here are some resources that I think that will help you. Okay, there's Dr. Henry Cloud, Boundaries, and he's even got a YouTube channel. There's Danny Silk, who's written a fantastic book called Keep Your Love On, which is talking about keeping connection. And there's Chip Judd as well on boundaries. Thank you.